Rawls says, listen, freedom's going to lead to complete destruction. Okay, so far so good. I think those other two saved. Moving on the 2,000-part series of A Theory of Justice. John Rawls. Who is this dude? John Rawls. This is just ridiculous. Real quick, the difference principle says that any social or economic inequalities that do exist in society should meet two conditions. First, they must meet two conditions. They must be attached to offices and positions. This whole thought is weird. First, they must be attached to offices and positions open to all under the conditions of fair equality and opportunity. Social positions, such as jobs, again, is that social, or is that who creates value and gets received pay in value in return? Jobs, productive work. Social positions, such as productive work, should be open to everyone and allowed by and allocated by merit. Yeah, they are open to everyone, but based on merit, who will gain those values and keep them and keep their job. In other words, let her explain it more simply. A person's prospects for success should reflect their level of talent and willingness to use it, not their social class or background. Agree. And second, any inequality that does exist should maximize the benefit of the least well-off. This is a profound principle. Under this principle, let's continue. It's acceptable. It's granted. It's accepted. It is granted. Under this principle, it is acceptable that, here's their premise, doctors earn more than janitors because that compensation differential incentivizes doctors to pursue their careers and ensures that janitors and everyone else will receive quality care if they fall ill. Society needs doctors. Becoming a doctor is difficult. The rewards for being a doctor are reflected in society valuing you through the exchange of money for services rendered, that it was worth the effort. The volitional actions you take to become a doctor, all the hard work to learn what to do when someone is broke to fix them, you should be rewarded for that. It's the difference between being acceptable versus a free market working. A free market works to exchange value for value, and not it's acceptable that they make more. It's acceptable to who? The totalitarian group? And second, any inequality that does exist should maximize the benefits of the least well-off. If anyone in any way, there is any inequality within society in any way, it should be rebalanced in favor of those who have less to be taken from those who have more. And we just continue to do that. And that is just. They're sick, man. It's so sick. Rawls' theory is nuanced. What does that mean? Is nuanced all right? It's contradictory. Garbage gobbledygook. But in short, if I could summarize it for you, it's unique in how it resolves the central tension between the competing demands of freedom and equality. It's unique, all right. In that it tries to resolve a tension that doesn't exist because the things are not competing, and that freedom and equality are actually non-contradictory, both pursuing the same sort of truth, And so there's no contradiction to reconcile. They reconcile. Freedom equals equality. Equality equals freedom. There is no tension. The whole dichotomy of freedom to equality, it's an abstract, what even is it? It's a false dichotomy. I don't know if there's a better way to describe it philosophically. Anybody know? It's just dumb. Rawls. It's just dumb. Rawls. You went to Harvard. Got a bunch of books. Recycled Plato and Kant. You have any good original ideas? Come on, son. I never even heard of you before this article. Whatever, man. And it's nuanced, all right. It's unique, and it resolves it in how it resolve. How it does it resolve it in your thought experiment, in how it attempts to resolve the central tension, which does not exist between the competing, they are not, demands of freedom and equality. By requiring, the word by requiring, who's doing the requiring and how are they enforcing the requisites? By requiring, the word by requiring, who's doing the requiring and how are they enforcing the requisites? By requiring that inequalities benefit the least advantaged. By requiring, who is requiring it? Philosophers, kings, thinkers, who know more than everybody. And how are they enforcing the requirements? Fascinating part is, how are they enforcing them in Web 3? We got to get to what needs to be done and stop fucking around with this yin yang. Who is this dude? This is come on. This is just ridiculous. By requiring that inequalities benefit the least advantaged. Thanks, Rawls, he's requiring it. Rawls builds in a natural corrective to the rampant inequality that would otherwise emerge in a system that privileges freedom before else. Rawls says, listen, freedom's going to lead to complete destruction. So, here's what I believe is naturally the corrective to that. Here's what I'm going to stick my finger in, and I'm going to push it this way because I have determined that is right. This balance between freedom and equality makes Rawls' theory compelling as a philosophical framework for the internet. Compelling in, do not do this. Negative rights.